confirmed that he will run for presidency as an independent candidate in next year's elections. He resigned from President Robert Mugabe's government in 2001, citing differences in policy formulation. He says he will ensure good governance and has a different view on how a coalition should be constituted. Dr. Moyo spoke to our foreign editor, Sophie Mokoena, about his decision to run for presidency in Zimbabwe.
A coalition becomes a necessity if there is no outright winner in an election process. Structuring a coalition ahead of an election, in my humble opinion, is like rigging the election and depriving citizens of their choice. So my view is that let us, those who want to contest, sell their ideas to the population. Let the population decide who is offering the thing that they want. And only if there is no outright decision should we now begin to compare who is closest in terms of programs on offer. And the coalition should be based on that, not just on saying I don't like or I like. That's not, for me, that doesn't do it.
Dr. Moyo had this to say on what he promises Zimbabweans.
As a candidate for the 2018 presidential elections, what do you promise the Zimbabweans and the region?
Three fundamental issues. The first one is that Zimbabwe is not a nation. We are not unified. We don't feel, all of us, as being given the status of proper citizens, first-class citizens in our own country. That's point number one. So cohesion of our country and national healing, similar somewhat to your truth and reconciliation stuff, needs to happen in Zimbabwe, where Zimbabweans as a population begin to relate to each other as citizens and all belonging in the same space, so that our efforts and our clarity of building our country is understood by everybody, and we are prepared to do the work necessary as a collective to get it done. So that's point number one. Point number two, for me, it's incredibly important for the institutions of state to be experienced by Zimbabweans as such. I mentioned earlier on, so the army, the police, the intelligence services, the judiciary. These institutions of state need to come across in the way they do their work for all citizens to begin to feel this is mine. It protects me and my interests, my security, and so on and so on. And these institutions should not be confused with a political party which happens to be running the country at the moment. Yeah? And it also then determines the relationship of trust which should be between the citizens and their government. When that separation between the government or the governing party, to be precise, and the institutions of state is clear. That's point number two. Point number three, on the basis of those relationships, and I put them in this order, because at the end of the day, the economy is about what citizens do. Citizens build an economy. Government needs to address economic growth with a clarity of the role of what government needs to do. Government should not be trying to do things for people. Government should be creating an environment for citizens to be economic agents. Those are the three things I promise.